it going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater. Sorry, starting a little bit late. Got a few things going on. Packing for Aquashilla Dallas, making sure the shrimp contest, everything like that is all going smooth. Got some things that Shelby's got to do with the baby and our dog Thea. I might talk more about Thea later, but let's dive into tonight's topic. Shelby will join us after she's getting done. It's just one of those really chaotic, crazy weeks. We leave for Dallas in just 2 days. So I saw a couple comments about us not being on time, but a glass for mom. But yep, we are here now, and we'll dive right in. Sorry not to be watching live. Had to much of a wild weekend going out for sushi for my daughter-in-law's birthday tonight. Well, yes, Dr. Anthony wasn't that wild unless you count the collecting that we did. But he was our speaker. Did a wonderful talk for the Aquatic Club of Pasco County. We did some collecting on Friday. I ate my way through a ton of meat at Hot Pot. And it was a great time. I really enjoyed having Dr. Anthony here. Enjoyed learning a bunch of new things like I always do around such a beautiful mind. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Grant is late again. I shouldn't say I'm always late. I didn't set it for 1 hour of the wrong time. I'm just here a little bit behind schedule. So tonight's topic is active substrate, why we use it, what it is, what kind we want to use, how it works, and everything like that. I'm going to share with you all of my knowledge. I'm always learning new things, but for the most part, I think I've got our active substrate figured out. So we've got our gold standard, my favorite, that I've used out of all the substrates. I haven't tried any of the new substrates out in the last few years, but I have, however, been using Brightwell maybe almost a decade now, and it has always been great on pH buffering capability. It keeps it nice and stable, and I never really have any fluctuations. And the best part about it, it lasts for many, many years. There's many different active substrates on the market. There's some that you can go to Petco, Pet Supermarket, PetSmart, and get. I'm not saying that those substrates are good or bad. Fluval Stratum is one of the ones you can get there. We have tanks that are running on Fluval for over 2 years and are breeding Galaxy Pintas just fine. How much further than 2 years? I've yet to experience that. But usually when people come to us and they have issues with their substrate not working and it's not buffering to, when I say not working, it's not buffering the pH low enough. So it's not in the low sixes. It might be high sixes or just a neutral 7. And when you're dealing with Caridina shrimp, not so much tigers, but especially bees, the crystal shrimp, Taiwan bees, Tai bees, and stuff like that, they require more of the lower pH. They would even do better in like 5.5 than they would at 6.5. So getting that good substrate and having it fresh and taking care of it, it will ensure that it has the long life. And then, the next thing about it is kind of the price. When Shelby gets here, I'll bring up some of the ones that are on the market, and we'll go over a couple of them and look at some of the price differences and whatnot. But the price of a 23-pound bag of Brightwell substrate, it kind of fluctuates. Sometimes it's on sale, and you can get it from like $50 to $80. Sometimes just the normal price will be like $110 to $140. With everything going on, I'm not quite sure what prices are. So we'll pull that up tonight and take a look at whether or not it's worth getting, and compare it to some of the prices of the store ones. But when people are having issues, 9 out of 10 times, it's usually the ones that you get from one of the big brand stores. And a lot of it, though, I think is user error, because how the actual substrate works is it's volcanic ash that's rolled up into these tiny little balls. The volcanic ash is jam packed with uh, bionutrients, and as the nutrients kind of break down in the water, it feeds um, the carbon dioxide, and it kind of bubbles off, and that's what lowers the pH. So when you've got your fresh substrate, it's going to work and buffer it way lower than it is at the end of its life cycle. The reason why at the beginning of its life cycle, it'll have like when you first buy it, say you get the larger grain, and it's like 5 millimeters. Well, over time it's going to erode, and it's going to break down, and it's going to get smaller and smaller. And as those particles react with the water to lower it and buffer it, it's going to be reduced, and over time it won't work anymore. So what you also don't want to do is add KH to the water. The carbonate hardness will calcify the substrate, and even just running your substrate for a month can really severe with KH in the water. So using like tap water to cycle your tank with an active substrate, it can cause a lot of issues, because you think of it as like the substrate is like a vinegar, and the KH in the water is the baking soda. So that chemical is going to react. It's going to use up all the vinegar. It's going to make it inert, and it won't be able to acidify and lower the water pH, and it won't work anymore. Also, it kind of like seals off and hardens the actual substrate, so that the water can no longer get into it. So when you say, oh, the active soil just eats up KH, it doesn't really. It's more just the KH is being bonded with and reacting with that basically acidicness of the substrate to get it to react and lower the pH. But the KH will stop that, harden the substrate, and prevent it from working. So you definitely don't want to use any KH in the water whatsoever. That's why we use RO filters. We go through and remove all of the minerals out of the water, and then we add in GH only minerals. That way there's no KH. The minerals that we use and that we recommend the most are the salty shrimp minerals from Glass Garden, and they really just do a great job all around, and they're the most bang for your buck. We've got Myra joining us, and then Shelby's just got to take care of Thea, and she'll be joining us, and I'll pull some of this up. But when you just use the RO water with the GH minerals, most substrates you get about, on average, 3 years. Some of them you won't get nearly as much life out of them. There's some brands out there. The Chem brand I didn't get to work for very long. I'm trying to think of one of the other ones. I'm pretty sure when Shelby brings up active substrates on Amazon in a little bit, I'll remember some of the brands that they just really didn't work. The Dimax substrate, that actually added KH into the water, so that wasn't able to buffer our substrates. The Samurai soil is an inert substrate. That one is not going to buffer your water, so we won't be talking about those ones. I'm just simply talking about the volcanic rolled up ash. There's a lot of different brands, but Brightwell has been the best. We've got the Cafe is brown, and the Escuro is the black, but it's also fantastic for plants. It's a great nutrient source for the roots as well as the particles will break down and also feed things like the moss and stuff like that. We don't use any fertilizers or anything like that for any of our tanks because of the active substrate, and it really does a good job growing a lot of the plants that we do in our low tech matter, and they some would say they thrive, but without like a real source of high CO2, you really can't see them in their true form. But in our house, it's more about the shrimp, and then the plants come second. But with the aqua soil, I ensure that the shrimp look great and the plants are at least decent enough that I grow the plants more than I grow algae, and they kind of look a lot better than just a bare tank with maybe just a piece of wood or a rock in it or something like that. Um, you the better substrate that you get, though, the longer it lasts. You got to worry about it. Eventually, what's going to happen is the pH throughout the day is going to raise. With Brightwell, I haven't really seen much fluctuations in the pH throughout the day up to like 5 years. With some of the other substrates like Shrimp King and SL Aqua, I got a good like a year to 3 years at least out of it. But then I noticed that you turn the tank lights on in the morning, you test your pH, and then you get about like a low 6. And then you test them at nighttime, right when your lights go off, and there could be a fluctuation to 6.2 to 6.8 to even 7.4 all the way up there, depending on how bad it is. And that fluctuation is really not ideal for most Caridina. The tiger shrimp, they seem to not really have much issues with that little fluctuation throughout the day. However, the bee shrimp, the crystals, Taiwan bees, and whatnot, those really do suffer, and your baby survival rate's going to go way down if they even are going to continue to breed at all. So this is generally why when some of our tanks start to fade out, I'll put our tiger shrimp in there, and then I'll set up a new tank for whatever was in there that I phased out. Like all of our Taiwan bees and our Caridina galaxies, they all go into like pretty much our freshest brand new tank. Some of the orange eyes, because they're so heavy in the tiger genetics, they can deal with the older tanks. However, the orange eyed blue steels and the orange eyed red devils, those for sure are going to go into newer tanks, so that way we get the best baby survival out of them. All right. We got Benny Tay with the question of the day: active substrate plus water change. Is it even needed? Absolutely. Water changes are essential. There's somebody in your comment on one of your posts, the video that you just recently posted, that's saying, oh, this person is absolutely 100% right, and that they breed thousands of shrimp. Well, for the last 2 years, they haven't been able to enter any shrimp into the shrimp contests. And if their method was actually good, then they'd be entering into the shrimp contest. If they were downsizing, the shrimp contest is an excellent way to downsize and get rid of some of your genetics, pass them on to some of our volunteers and stuff like that, just like Jamie is, and support the hobby. Instead, they're giving people false news and false hopes that they can just be lazy and not really have to take care of their shrimp. That's one of the reasons why I stopped supporting some of the people I do, is because they support all of these things and then they don't even sell shrimp, and it looks like they've got thousands of shrimp because they do, because they bred them out, and you can breed out enough to keep a colony to look good does not mean you can breed out enough to sell. And if you're not doing water changes, you're not going to have enough to sell. You're not going to have enough to support your hobby, and even pay for a little something extra. I do find it that most of these people, if they're not able to at least support their hobby or make a good chunk of change out of it as well, they don't last in it very long. And a lot of them tend to get lazy. Something else comes up and they add on too many things. Uh, you can't add on way too many balls and start juggling, and you're going to start dropping a few of them. And then eventually you're just going to think, oh, that didn't work out. There's no way. And you didn't realize you just had too many things going on and you stopped doing the care. Water change is absolutely essential. If we weren't doing them, we couldn't be one of the only people in the hobby that are selling shrimp full time, just breeding them.
Yeah, we've also found out.
Hold on. Welcome to the stream, Shelby.
But I would like
to
point out as a fact that we have done it before, that we have done less water changes on certain racks or certain tanks and have noticed a decrease in shrimp breeding. And that was one of the biggest debates if you go back in our stream, like many streams ago, that I had a theory that the less you would touch the tank, the less you did that they would breed, because sometimes some tanks do that, where it seems like you're not doing as much and they're breeding really well. And then you do a water change and they're not breeding so fast. But I was proved wrong multiple times through multiple different tanks that the water changes definitely matter. They definitely increase breeding. Now I have tanks that have different water parameters in them. Dump different water into it. When I just see a glass of water, I'm like, just dump it in here. The breeding, they're surviving, they're not breeding and thriving. So,
and whoever wants to say that shrimp don't need water changes, I have a tank that I never did water changes. I've thrown 2 different types of shrimp in there. They didn't do well. Yellow King Kongs and Tangerine Tigers.
Yep.
So I'm done trying. I'm leaving the tank there as is, not really doing any water changes. It could use a top off probably because the tank isn't 1,000% sealed. But if you want to volunteer more test subjects to convince us, but
I feel like those people that say they don't need water changes are people that the water
none of them are selling
evaporates
shrimp, though,
and then they fill it up with water, and it's still in somewhat a water change in a way.
It's not, because you're not replacing the minerals. You're not. Yeah. The hormones aren't evaporating. There's so many things that you do when you replace the water. There's not one speaker that I've talked to where they're like, yep, absolutely no water changes, and they're in a laboratory setting or anything like that. So
this is why the screen glasses are so reflective. Yeah.
Oh, I can't read. That's why I can't read chat.
Yeah, that's why. But right. I get so used to it, so it's a little bit different. Shrimp Sanctuary, said fluval stratum, fluval biostratum are great soil in my opinion. The buffering is usually 6 to 6.2 with crystals. They thrive better in 5.5 pH, like what Grant says.
Yeah. The fluval stratum, we're doing just fine with it. It's got a couple crystal shrimp in with it as well, but our Brightwell tanks, there's nothing that compares with them.
This is pretty cool. We are testing a new soil directly from Japan to replace ADA. It'll be used for low pH type of shrimps. That's cool. That's exciting to know. Been testing. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's been 3 months of testing. That's cool. I gotta read chat at the same time, so you gotta talk somewhat.
So some of the cons of using the soil is the costs. It is a lot more expensive than most of your inert substrate options, especially if you're a pool filter or a black blasting sand kind of guy or gal. Then you're going to look at the price of the aqua soils and go, oof, that's pretty much more than what I spent on the tank sometimes. Unless you're buying roomless aquariums, most of the times when we set up our tank racks. Soil is our second most expensive cost to setting up the rack. Lights are the first cost, tanks, and then the wood and paint and stuff like that to build the stand come after.
So ADA version 1 had too high of ammonia, hence it takes a long time for mini to cycle the tank. That's why ADA V2 lowered the ammonia and provided a small pack of nutrients. I was wondering what the difference was, because you could tell there was a large difference between them, though.
I missed the original ADA, but it took a while for the tank to cycle. But I just think that's because there was so much ammonia to be converted at such a low pH. It's just hard for the bacteria. There's not a lot of bacteria that colonize in that low pH, so it takes a while.
Fishcapade said, I have planaria in both my tanks with neos. They're doing well and breeding, but I worry still. I ordered no planaria. I'm still new to this. Both tanks have plants and fish. Thoughts?
So
I'm surprised the fish didn't eat them.
I'll walk you through it now, but I highly suggest you watch our video on what to do. But again, this is why you should watch the video. I don't have the packet in front of me, so I don't know the doses. But I believe it's like 1 scoop per some whatever liters, and then I've converted it to gallons in our videos. So if you look up how to kill planaria, one of our videos should show up, or you can search through our videos to find it. It's one of our earlier videos, but it's still a great one to this day. And what you do is you dose the planaria at night, or the no planaria at nighttime. You take some of it, mix it into a cup with RO water, mix it up really well, pour it into the tank all around, get it to where it goes all into all the nooks and crannies. And then I believe in the video I said turn off the filter. If you don't turn off your filter, it's a great idea. That way you prevent some of the bacteria from dying off and cycling through and getting a lot of poison in there. But the whole thing you want to do is dose the tank at nighttime. And if you've got a lot of fish in the tank, don't turn off the filter. Just leave the filter running, so that way you've got good oxygen levels. And if there's a lot of shrimp load too. But if it's fairly fresh, you can kill the filter. But you run it at nighttime. The actual poison that kills off the planaria, that will actually dilute in daylight or any kind of light whatsoever. It'll make it inert. So if you do it at nighttime and then the next morning you do like a 90% water change, and that way the bacteria in your filter doesn't really die off, but the worms take a good hit. Wait a day or two, make sure that there's no worms. If you do see any worms, then you want to do another dose. But as long as you're dosing at nighttime, then you really don't have any issues. And see, the thing about dosing it at nighttime and a couple of the tips and trips about doing a massive water change afterwards aren't really on the instructions. So I think that's why this company really didn't do as well as it should have, and it's getting some bad rep because some people have issues where they just dose it and don't do that water change, and their bacteria dies off. So I'd watch the video just so you recap through everything I said. I had a little distraction here, so I hope I didn't forget nothing.
It's so funny to watch. Yeah, and at first, this is another thing I was thinking about with planaria, and I had a successful tank that was breeding a bunch of shrimp with planaria, and I was very surprised because usually planaria is killer of shrimps, and I was like, oh, it's fine. It wasn't fine. They slowly take over. It's a very, very slow kill. So if you do see them, please get rid of them as soon as possible. We test so you don't have to. Unfortunately, it's not fun to figure that out. You know, when you think that, because you hear a lot of stories in the hobby and you don't see it and you see that everything's going okay, you think, oh, well, they're fine. It wasn't. Yeah. exactly. Richard said that he does need a couple of salty shrimps shipped to him. So
All right.
Larry D said, "I never touch my water. I just fill up my
Do you
water
use the
tub.
GH ones also, Richard?
Water tub, dechlorinate, give a day or two, and enjoy." That's good that you let it sit.
Hold on.
There we go.
All right, we're back. She kicked the wire out. I gotta
Quick with it.
hold it a little bit better.
Phil said, "I just tried Landon for the first time, buffering crazy low, 4.2 to 4.5 on multiple different tests."
So we used Landon in the 2 tanks up there, and nothing really did well in those tanks.
Which one? But sometimes I feel like some of those need to cycle more. We've had this debate too. We've definitely had it happen where
we put 2 batches of shrimp in there,
Oh.
and one was like a year later.
I don't know what's going on with those then.
It never really did well in the Landon tanks.
Yeah, we've had a lot of them that take a lot longer to buffer or mature, I would say. But then they start doing okay. I have one over here in particular that was like, they weren't doing great, but there's like 20, 30 babies over there. I just walked by and I had to stop. Vibes, and you're probably gone, but hopefully your back is better before Aquashella. Sorry. Go
Back to me. The other downside is having to replace it once the soil is fully exhausted. It can be a bit of a work. It can be a little bit risky, but it really does beat all of the other options. All of the other options really include using like an acid, the pH buffers and stuff like that. None of them are that stable. So the second that you stop dosing or you fall off of it, your shrimp are more than likely going to crash. And then the other one is the peat moss. And peat moss is really messy. It's really going to tannin up your water. You'll have a black water tank. It'll be hard to see your shrimp. It can be kind of hard to contain some of the peat moss, and it can kind of leak out, and you can get a bunch of mulm in your tank. And then you have to replace it a lot more frequently than you do the aqua soils and substrate. So, yeah. So the really best option, the most effective and efficient option are the substrates. In my opinion, is the Brightwell one.
Johnny Best, thank you so much for gifting 1 Garden of Eater membership and then gifting another 5 Garden of Eater memberships. Thank you so much. It's weird that Fish Fam link right under this says thank you for gifting 0 memberships. Isn't that weird? That's got to be like a typo. Thank you so much, Johnny. Really appreciate that. If you did get gifted a Garden of Eater membership, make sure to email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com for your member-only sticker, and we'll get those out to you as soon as we can.
Thank you, Johnny Best. You're the man. Really appreciate your support. That really helps out a lot today. Thank you.
Richard, I sent 4 types of shrimp to Dallas today. Yay, I'm so excited.
Really appreciate you supporting
Thank
the hobby and competing in the contest. It really helps out. Yeah. She's active today.
Johnny said, "What's your opinion on the Calyx shrimp biofilm balls?"
So I don't really use them. I've never really tried them. They came out after my whole thing where if it's not broken, I'm done trying to fix it or done trying to make it better. I looked at the price of them and calculated how much it would cost just to use it on the tanks that like we could use it the most, and the tanks maybe that would be more populated and benefit off of it and stuff like that. And it seems like it's such a high cost, and I'm not quite sure I would recover those costs for using them in 500 tanks, or if you're not using them in all the tanks, why even bother? I don't know. So we've never really tried it or give it a chance. Shelby wants to give it a go in a couple of her tanks when they get up and running, like a side by side tank. No, not today, Shelby. Mother's Day was yesterday.
Yeah, this is one of those things Benny Tay would probably be able to explain if they see a difference. I do see a lot of breeders that do have high-end, really nice shrimp seem to have success when they use these. There's hello. And so I've been wanting to try it out in a specific tank. I've been trying different things. Like I even have been using the Bacter AE for feedings because that's the regimen it tells you to actually use it to feed. That's not yummy. That's not great. But I do believe that there could be a benefit. I have, like we said, we haven't used it ourselves. So stay tuned and hopefully we will have that by the end of this year for sure. I've already started testing different tanks for different things. So, how deep of a layer of active substrate for a breeding tank with no rooted plants?
So here's the thing. The deeper you go, the longer your substrate's going to last, and you won't have to replace it as often. There's breeders that just use a very thin layer, so that way it covers the entire bottom of the tank, and then they replace it every single year. I like a solid inch, at least enough. Where are you going? At least enough that it covers the bottom frame if you have a frame tank. But a good inch is good. If you have a rimless tank and you slope it from the front and you go like bare minimum all the way to like 3 inches in the back, that's a great look. And then it gives it more depth, and then you can actually view and see all of your shrimp a lot better that way. But an inch to 3 inches is what I like to do.
Richard said GH and KH salty shrimp.
I was that just makes it very, very difficult. I know you want the GH KH, but do you just want the do you also use the or need the GH only variety though for your crystal shrimp?
Fishcapade said, "Thanks so much for the planary advice. I'm glad I ordered the no planaria now. Thank you."
Yeah, it's gone up in price, as Shelby pointed out the other day when somebody was here. So
see y'all this weekend. Can't wait to see ya. Take care. Oh, and he says,
you got any shrimp to enter in the contest?
Ooh,
anyone? There is still couple entries. So, and if anybody is going to be at the show and they want to volunteer and get VIP passes into Aquashella, let us know as well. And then, if anybody wants to help and volunteer lunches for Shelby and myself, it looks like Tim isn't going to be able to make it, and we'll be down a man, and one of us is going to be aquascaping, one of us is going to be running the booth. On Sunday, I believe Shelby's speaking. We also have the Shrimp Awards, so
we have not agreed to that.
Shelby's speaking, yeah.
Mm.
What do you mean? Signed you up. You're good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, I've only done 2 talks, by the way. 2 talks, and they've been in front of our club members that I know. One of the... Oh, wait. I've done 3 talks. But, like, I've only done 1 talk by myself. Have I not? Just 1 talk by myself.
No, 2 talks.
Okay, 2 talks by myself. And you're expecting me to do that in front of a plethora of more people than there have ever been at the clubs?
Listen... You're really cocky. Be humble. So they still got to show up.
I mean, the fact that people can hear me around. I don't care if anyone's even sitting there. There's people that can still hear you. Hello.
She is active. Yeah. We were at my grandparents' house, and she was on the carpet pretty much the whole day practicing crawling, and she has figured out how to turn and grab things and climb. And Yeah, she's very mobile, and this aqua shell is going to be a lot more difficult
This is gonna be a struggle.
because she's not just going to sleep and lay in one little play area now. She's going to be like, I'm gone.
Goodbye. Oh man. So we're going to be struggling. So if you see us and we're sweating and look frazzled, it's probably because we are.
And bring ice cream. S-O-S.
Richard, Shelby, your talk will be great. I don't even know what it is, and I only have tomorrow to prepare for this. We leave Wednesday morning. Tomorrow, I still have to catch all of the shrimp
Did you
that we need for the
start
show.
the
Pack.
Did you start the PowerPoint for the
Yes.
things that you should do before you get started?
Yeah, but why would
That-
I talk on that?
That's what he wants you to talk about, is the shrimp topic
Oh.
or something you're passionate about if it has to be, but he would prefer you to do that one.
Passionate about someone taking Grant and adopting him, please. He's up for adoption. I'm just kidding. But then I also got to take care of Thea tomorrow. Got to pack. There's so much to do. You're crazy. I did make new awards for the shrimp contest this morning, so that was pretty exciting. So they're different than before. They're not like something that's special, but it was fun to make them.
Oh, it was fun.
Anyways.
I got a lot of other fun things that you could do then. Glad,
Get back to your talk.
glad you enjoyed that so much.
Get back to your talk.
All right.
Explain things to people. Do something useful.
Now let's talk about why you don't want to use it for neocaridina. There is a lot of people that think active substrate is a shrimp substrate, and that all shrimps are going to benefit off of this, and that is simply not the case. You can actually keep both crystals and neocaridina, or I should just say caridina and neocaridina shrimp, on active substrate. However, you need to worry about keeping the pH stable still. And the only real way to do that is by using GH only minerals. I mean, watching her, Shelby, stop. I don't need you also pointing her out and distracting me. If you use GH only minerals, you are not going to have any of the KH fighting any of the buffering capability of the substrate, and it is going to act just like a caridina shrimp tank. And all of your neocaridina are going to eventually adapt to that. It'll eventually take a generation or two before they're booming and producing a lot, and they'll probably still always produce and breed more for you in a harder water condition with inert substrate, just simply because it is easier to keep that pH stable and going, and maybe they do better in that environment, but they do breed them overseas in much lower pH than what we keep them here in the United States. And then what they do is they transition them from the sellers and the wholesalers and stuff like that into harder water that we keep over here in the United States, so that way they do better for them in their tanks, rather than trying to do all the drip acclimation and everything like that. But the best way is just not to use your active substrate for neocaridina. Those that do use it with the tap water, what happens is at first that tap water, all the KH in it is being eaten up by the aqua soil. So it looks like your pH is low and it's stable and everything's great. But what happens is every time you do a water change, you add more KH into the water, and eventually that KH is going to be absorbed all the way. All those little molecules are going to be filled up. The calcium is going to solidify the substrate, and then what's going to happen is it's not going to buffer the substrate, and it's going to go from low pH one day to high pH, or it's going to fluctuate really badly from low pH to high pH throughout the day. So if you're going to have to use something for your plants, it's best to use like root tabs or something like that. You can use the aqua soil and cap it, but there's many reasons why you don't want to do that. The anaerobic bacteria and gases and pockets and everything like that can build up, and then you move one little thing, or that soil breaks through, you're going to have a lot of issues. So, in my opinion, active soil is only for the Caridina species.
Um, welcome in, Crip. Haven't seen you in forever since Hi Grant and Shelby.
He feels
Thanks
guilty.
for joining.
That's why he's here. No, I'm
It's
just
not
messing,
his
Crip.
fault.
I brought it up earlier. I know. Shelby
So-
argued with me though so hard that you were able to with your
I know, I was
license.
so mad.
And
I was
like,
ours
Shelby,
are fine.
I said the same thing to him. He had the
he
answers.
sent me a picture. He was like,
I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers for her.
I know. Well,
Message him.
I'm very stressed out. I'm at the level of stress that you do not want to be at and functioning at. My heart it cannot take it right now. With the amount of stuff we have to get done by tomorrow. And I was like, it's another thing. But the travel, we have to write a book, Crip, of your travel experiences.
I thought you were saying we have to write a book.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I mean, like,
what
law?
did you sign us up for now?
But Benny Tay says, yeah, traveling to meet TGOE in August. I'm super excited. And I already talked to Grant about purchasing the Calyx out off of you. And am I right that what do you call them? Lobo balls?
Lobo balls. I don't know.
And then the Calyx are the same thing. It's just one's for a bigger colony than the other. I was just curious. I can't believe the long flights you're gonna have to take. I feel so bad. I wish you could just pop. But Ruben's got like some superpower or something. Yo got like that shirt. It's like you put on this shirt and Ruben's just like can sense it or something. It was like, all right, gotta be in the street. That's so funny.
Excited to see Ruben this weekend as well.
Oh, he's gonna be there. He lives there. I'm like, oh, he's really gonna make a trip. Thank you so much, Shrimp Sanctuary Benny Tay, for the $20. Said, wishing both of you strength and joy as you balance family life and your shrimp journey. It's inspiring. Your love and passion shine through. Keep going. What you do matters more than you know to many who look up to you. Oh,
appreciate that, Benny.
I want to picture frame that. That was so cute. That was so nice. That really does mean a lot, especially in times where it's a little bit more stressful than other times. So thank you.
And I hope you're up for like a little live stream while you're here. I would love to do one for all the people when you're here. I'm really looking forward to that.
That would be really nice. And then, Richie, you heard it here first. They're writing a book. That's so funny. I guess we signed ourselves up for that one.
The next one that's going to show up in the chat is Joey DIY going, see, I told you to write a book. It's a good idea. Look at all the interest you already have.
Oh, man. Oh, this is interesting. If you use active soil and have a good mature tank cycle well, the biofilm ball helps, but if your tank is not at that level, it will not bring out the benefits. So it's more for mature tanks, I would say, then. Danky said, ever had inconsistent Brightwell GH Plus formula?
Sadly, yes, that is the one thing
Now
that
are we talking about
has been a little bit inconsistent with the Brightwell, and that's kind of why I don't sell it on the website, and we sell the GH only mineral. I've talked with them and I've asked them to make a GH only product. It's just a very busy industry. Logistics is hard, and I think just salts in general is hard because times of the year I'm not able to get the salty shrimp product as well. So it is an issue sometimes where the minerals are calcified on the bottom of the container, and you're able to get a little bit more out of it by putting some RO water and then shaking it up and getting a couple more uses out of it. But that is why we have switched to the GH minerals from salty shrimp.
Couldn't wrap my head around it, but thanks for reassuring. GH is one of those harder ones to GH and KH. There's a lot of people that say don't chase your parameters like that. And I think that's one of them that if we were a little bit more knowledgeable on MGH and KH, we could probably understand why it fluctuates sometimes and can be inconsistent. But product wise, if you have a product that's more consistent, we're going to share the product we use.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to chase your parameters by like trying to alter your tap water with like RO water and stuff like that. But if you're making your water from RO water, you're kind of chasing a perfect parameter at that point. But it should be achievable very easily with the right minerals.
Dinky said, how long will an open bag of soil stay fresh? She's
not very long. You want to make sure that like an hour or two of opening it, that you get it sealed back up, and that way it stays nice and fresh. If it dries out, it can become brittle and start to break down and turn to dust. And if it gets dusty, what happens is that dust just basically is out the door in the first water change, and all of that dust was the good stuff. That's what's going to be buffering your water for a really long time. So you want the less dust, you want it to stay fresh, you want it nice and humid in the bag contents.
Johnny said, water out of the tap has no KH. Can I use the salty shrimp GH and KH too or not?
See those who say the tap water doesn't have KH, I just worry that it's consistent, because different times of the year you can have different minerals that kind of erode and stuff like that through the pipes, depending on temperatures and stuff like that. Sometimes they run out of water and they get water from a neighboring town and stuff like that. So you always want to test beforehand. But if you ever need to raise your GH and KH, the GH KH minerals are great. And then if you had to use it for tigers or something like that, you could use the GH only mineral. I would never use tap water for bee shrimp. I'd always run it through a good RO unit.
Script said, I'm regretting not renting a machine to do the digging. Almost leveled off, still have 4 feet to go after that. That's crazy. And then I saw your post, and I was going to make a joke about you could have some, there's like a camp with these kids that dig holes. You could just try to get them. Oh, man. And Ruben said, when are you all going to be in Dallas? I'm going to get off early to drop off my shrimp.
So we'll be there late Wednesday night. But we'll be there. I don't know when we'll exactly be able to get in. But a safe time to drop off the shrimp would be like noon on Thursday. Anytime after that, just make sure it's like before 5 to 8 o'clock. You could always reach out to us and see if we're still there. But
it's always different whether we're going to be out eating dinner or something and come back. Really depends. Friday night we're usually there later, but cutoff is like 5 on Friday to get them in the tanks.
Yeah.
So.
Because after that, there's usually the YouTube dinner.
Fun fact, it's the only book that Grant has ever read. So, like, that is, like, the best movie. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. Growing up, that definitely was one of my favorite. Well, I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
All right. I think that's basically the entire gist of like why we use the aqua soil, how it works, and everything like that. To the best of my knowledge, as like the organics in it break down, it creates its own CO2, and then your CO2 is going to be used up by the plants during the day and stuff like that. But the CO2 is basically what is lowering your water.
What?
Water's pH. Sorry.
It's like lowering the water. What is going on? You seem exhausted. It's been a long week.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. We've got a Aquashella Dallas in just a couple of days. So packing, getting everything ready. Got all the shrimp orders caught up, and even the one that was placed today, we got that one out the door today. But had to reach out to everybody, make sure that the entries are filled up, the awards are done, and everything's taken care of, so we can have a great shrimp show, and that we can keep it going. So that way, there's a show in California and one in New Jersey and stuff like that too. Wow.
She's got a lot to say. That's it for your topic?
Oh, I
you're
wanted
10
you
minutes
to.
shy.
You're supposed to bring it up on Amazon. We're going to go through
Okay.
some of the substrates, so it's not quite over, but that's my notes. You want me to type it out?
Yeah.
The mic's in the way. It makes it hard. Can they see that already?
No.
Oh, all right.
What's
So
going on?
there's several different pet stores, local pet stores that carry Brightwell products. They're really a staple in the saltwater industry. Their Microbacter 7 is one of their top sellers, and it is so for a reason because it works. And when I was working the booth for them at Reefapalooza, and I didn't really, know too much about saltwater, so I was more there just to, like, kind of see how the show works and then learn about some of the products. And there are so many different people that were coming up to me and telling me how much they love the Microbacter 7 for getting them to cycle their tanks. And then they developed the freshwater product, but their substrate, this has been in the game for years. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I did my talk, and then after the talk, this guy, a CEO of Brightwell Aquatics, wanted to, make like a shrimp line and do a bunch of different things and work with me. And at this time, this was 8 years ago at least. At the time, I had a couple people come up to me and say, "Hey, let's test this product." And I look it up, and they barely got a website, and there's not much footwork done to the product, and it's just I don't got time to develop products with people. I just want to develop shrimp, so I kind of was just like, "All right, dude, give me your card," and I didn't really think anything of it. I drove home 2.5 hours.
We had let's reiterate that the kids had to be in school, so I was rushing him to get going because it's extremely late. This was far away from home, and we had 2 hours to go, or 2.5 hours to go back home to get the kids to bed to go to school in the morning.
And my talk was delayed because the person that was supposed to unlock the building was on vacation, asked somebody else to do it, and that person never showed up. So reached out to the local IHOP. I said, "Hey, I'm like one of your best customers down in Hernando County. I eat a lot of pancakes. You think you can open up the house for me?" And they said, "Absolutely." I'm just kidding. One of the club members reached out to them and got them to open up their back room for us. But I drove all the way home, 2.5 hours, like Shelby said, and I went to sleep perfectly fine. Not a care in the world. All I knew about Brightwell was that, like, it was a substrate and Han Aquatics used it, and that I didn't use it because it was a little bit more expensive than 88. And why would you use that when 88 at the time was like the best recommended by everybody on the market, right? Well, I got home and went to bed, and I woke up like 45 minutes before I ever woke up going, Brightwell Aquatics, that substrate, that actually would have been a good, that's like the second best thing to ADA reaching out and sponsoring me, in my opinion. So I was mad at myself for like 45 minutes, and then they had reached out to me and said, "Hey, that was like one of the best shrimp talks we've ever heard. We're really looking forward to working with you. There's a bunch of things to talk about and think about. And then we helped them work and develop some of their shrimp line products that they came out with on the market, and the substrate that we used and we've been using from them has been so great. I no longer have any deals with Brightwell, but the substrate is still fantastic. It's still my favorite, and it there's not another one that I've tried in recent years that's worked better. ADA back in the day was fantastic, but it leached a lot of ammonia. The Brightwell leaches a very, very small amount of ammonia that's usually not even detectable after the first week. So,
Ruben said, "Do we get early bird entry or general when we enter the competition?"
I believe it's early bird entry. Don't quote me on that, but that's what it was in the past. Things kind of changed when Rob ran it for a second, but I got it back onto the Aquashella website, so everything should be clear. But I will ask Joanne and figure that out for you.
I gotta stop wearing lipstick because she gets it on her and then she looks like she got hurt. He said he can't come Saturday, but he can come Sunday. So that's pretty cool.
So can you pop up the substrates here? I can't read them from that far away.
Sorry.
So right here on the left-hand side, we've got an $84.94 bag of Escuro, and how much is that for? What size bag? So we got to click on it.
I would assume that's like a 20-pound bag.
I would assume it's a
pound.
24. I think technically it's a 23-pound bag. I think the box itself will weigh.
Item weight is 25 pounds to be in. It says down. Look, it says 25 pounds.
I'm pretty sure when you scroll on the back. Oh, it says 24 pounds now. All right, so maybe it's a little bit bigger. I swear I got bags that were like only 23 pounds. So you get 24 pounds for $90 or $85. I'm sorry. That's pretty good. You can get 15 pounds for $60, and then 5 pounds for just under $30. And so it's almost a pound a liter. So 15-pound bag would be a 15-liter bag. A lot of the industry that comes over the European brands and the Asian brands will be like a 9-liter or a 15-liter bag for $45. So like a 15-pound bag for $45. But what I find is this is going to last a lot longer. And then the 24-pound bag usually is the most bang for your buck. I don't have my phone to do the calculations. Hold on, let's steal Shelby's here. But hold on, you took it away and I can't read nothing anymore. So 24 liters. So we're going to do it off of liters because everybody else's bags, I think, are going to be in liters. So for $85, we get 24 liters. And so it's about $3.50 a liter. So that's really good considering that I've seen the price of this sometimes be up into like $110 per bag, and I still would have preferred to buy that over the other brands. If you just go on to Amazon and you search Aquasoil, I'm going to do it, of course. I believe Landon is like one of the ones that pops up like first. Oh, Fluval. Fluval's doing a great job. But then there's the Landon, and then the Control Soil. Oh, Brightwell. Oh, probably because we search it up all the time. The Aqua Naturals Bio Substrate is up there.
That should not be in with aqua soil.
But so we have the control soil. This is a very similar brand to Brightwell, and then you've got 10 liters for $67, and then I believe Brightwell was like that price for 15 liters. So for an extra $15, I mean, I guess it's 20 pounds. See, something's wrong
That doesn't
because 10 liters to 20 pounds.
yeah.
Something ain't mathing because that's a 2-to-1 ratio, not a 1-to-1 ratio. Let's
probably it's probably around 10 to 12 liters then. They might have tried to change that and they can't. Amazon's really hard when you sell through Amazon to change pricing and information like that. So maybe they already know, but probably
mixed 5 liter. What does mixed 5 liter mean? So this is 5 liters, 10 pounds. So for 10 pounds is $36.99. So if you doubled that, you'd get, very similar price to Brightwell. You wouldn't get as many pounds as the Brightwell one, but it'd still be a little bit cheaper. But I do find that the Brightwell is the most consistent, most stable across the market. The control soil and Landon soil are both ones that I've tried. The Amazon soil looks very similar branding to this premium soil over here on the right-hand side. This premium soil didn't work very well at all.
Is that not Flugel's?
Which one?
Is that not Flugel's new
No.
beta stuff?
No. That's the premium substrate.
Like
We tried this one at Global many years ago, and it didn't even buffer the pH very well at all. Like the granules are hard. They're not. It's very similar looking to the Dymax now that I see it.
Yeah, looks exactly like.
Yeah, that was the one I was trying to remember earlier, and I was like, that is not a good one at all.
I forget the one.
Eco Complete shouldn't be on here. Water, grass, mud for aquariums. Higer has their own soil. Higer, if you're watching, send me one. But it looks just like the substrates that leach the KH in the water.
The same though. Like I feel like in all the pictures.
And then this is one that you do not want to use, especially with Cardena soil. This is like a laterite clay. It works fantastic for crypts. Like the crypts thrive in this. It dyes the roots pink. They're really absorbing all the nutrients out of this stuff, but it's not an active substrate. Just the Oscuro and the Cafe from Brightwell are the only ones. Other good ones are the Amazonian. The fluorite is not a buffering substrate, but the Amazonia is very, very mixed reviews, and a lot of people stopped using it because it was turning to mud pretty quickly. I know there's a couple other substrates. The Seachem Aqua Vitro, we didn't have much luck with any of the shrimp other than the raccoons in there.
Oh, I see why the Pisces is coming out, because it says active, because that's the one with their bacteria in it. So that's probably why Carib Seas Eco Complete came out.
Right. Tropica is a good one. I like Tropica. It just tends to be expensive, and now that we get ours from Canada, it's probably going to be even more expensive. But this aquarium soil, the Mr. Aqua, I haven't tried that. I believe like that was popular back in the day, but I don't know. I'd like to give that one a try, I think. So lots of options out there.
Be careful with the ones that say active because it's active bacteria for those. You really want to make sure that they have some sort of buffering capabilities, and say like it's a volcanic ash or substrate in some way.
Or just take our advice and just get the Brightwell. If you had to do a secondary option and Brightwell is out of stock, I guess I would do the Control Soil. But like Control Soil has so many different
regular
types of soil now. Like this is a sand,
yeah.
not a soil. So you got to be careful when you're ordering types
All
also.
different colors.
So here, let's get out of that though. And catch up in chat.
Freaking dying. All right, too much. Justin wants you to email him.
I did email you back
chance.
already, Justin.
Oh.
Pretty much like right when I woke up
What's
this
your
morning.
breakfast order for Saturday?
Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, same thing as always.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
We got
You're always the best. Always taking care of us.
we got a small chance that Layla might come with us, and it'll just be 3 orders of biscuits and gravy. But I don't think she will be.
Ruben said, I've seen you were one of the speakers at Aquashell. Shelby, good luck. You got this. Stop. No. I don't want to do this. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words. They do help a little bit. I still don't want to do this at all. I'm going to make Grant jump in. I'm going to buy him a wig, Amazon him a wig to the thing and just have him act like me. That'd be funny. Stephen P. Love that comment. Then he said, Grant, will you be considering bringing soil into U.S. yourself to lower the cost of using them?
I don't have the current situation to hold
anything
like storage for anything.
We would have had aquascaping supplies by now if we could have done that.
It would have to be in a different location, and I think
we would think about that.
We're in the spot now where they're trying to save up for a van, but something else has come up, so we gotta.
That's how
stick our feet to the ground and get it.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Get some things figured out, and then after the van, it's like pretty much put all of our money away, so that way we can get a new house and
then
start doing these kind of
like
things.
That, yeah. That would be awesome. It'd be really incredible, honestly. Especially if we could back it up and know that it's a really good product. It's just making sure there's consistency in a product that I would be willing enough to do something like that. There's been times where there's ones that are really, really good on the market that I enjoy. We've used them in several tanks, but they're not consistent. Some of them didn't do as well as the others. I use Platinum. It works very well for me. Wait, which one's Platinum?
Platinum's the one that we got off of Chaz.
Did we even talk about it?
No. It's not really that popular in the United States, but Colin that sells the Thrive has the Platinum soil.
How do you even get it?
I got it through them. We've tried it though.
It's probably one of these things. We do write the substrates on some of these when we were trying them.
It's one of the top ones. It's the only tank up top that's not a Kedema. The brown one.
The brown one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That one did well. Fine. Aaron Armstrong, thank you so much for the $5. So did you say you did 30% water change fortnightly? Also, what soil do you think is best for Caridina?
Best substrate, hands down, for us is the Brightwell substrates. And then we do at least 30% water changes, sometimes 50% water changes every other week if we're not doing any shows and I've got proper water pressure. Every 3 weeks at the least, though, or most.
I'm getting a kick out of this. Justin said, I'm using close to 2 inches of Brightwell subsoil with every tank that I'm doing. Just make sure with that, email me so we can chat a little further. I sent you one yesterday. I know you guys are boozy. He said busy, not boozy. Listening to too much little boozy. Have a good night, Larry D. Hope work is good for you tomorrow. Nulo Costin said, you'll feel so good after you talk, Shelby. You have a lot to say, a lot of talent and knowledge most don't have. Think of it as sharing. You two are very generous. Oh, you're too sweet. You're too kind. I'm really bad with my talks, though. Like, it took me a while to want to do something like this on YouTube. And then, like, my first talk I ever did, I was shaking like a leaf. I couldn't calm my anxiety down. Like, I have really high anxiety, and I don't know, like everyone that I talked to at that club was so, they're so smart, they're so well-rounded people. I've learned so much off of them for many years, and I just felt like I was someone that came from like the Hills Have Eyes and came out to do a talk. That's how I felt, but I was stressed. So I don't know, if I can control my anxiety, maybe I can do okay. I cried at my last talk too. I don't know how you think I'm good at talking. I was literally like, my whole face went red. I started to well up, and that's when I said I did the tank for the Ukraine.
You know, I say you're good at talking because you're just talking. You're good. You're just, when you're in it.
Because I'm home.
You're good, yes. But you just got to do it, and practice makes perfect.
Does anyone have suggestions for dinner in Dallas?
A taco place followed by.
There's a taco. I don't know the name of it.
I don't know the name. I'm hoping New Local Austin remembers the name of the taco place that we went
really
to.
Good.
And then afterwards, we went to this place that cuts donuts in half and puts ice cream in it. So I'm looking forward to the same exact experience.
Aaron Armstrong, thank you so much for the $2. Said, can you spell Brightwell? It's BRIGHTWELL, like bright and a well.
Yeah, and then the floor in Escuro is black and the cafe is brown. Why don't you just bring it back up? I thought
you were going to spell it for him, and I was like, there's no way you're going to spell Florin.
Florin. FLORIN. Florin.
Okay, that was good. That was good, actually. I was impressed.
Escuro. ESCURO.
She's going crazy on that. Here we go. Oh, there it is.
So this is the cafe one. This one's going to be brown. I do think that the black does buffer a little bit more. So if you're looking for lower pH over like 0.2, they both last about the same time before you got to like replace them or swap them out. But I do think that the black does drop a little bit lower than the brown.
Ruben says, don't say a lot in your speech. I said that like 1,000 times. Or no, this is bad. And I used to just make fun of Grant all the time for it. I was like, why do you do that? Like, why do you say it so much? I was counting them, and I am like 10 times worse than him. Like, it was like like word. I only do it when I'm like super anxious. I could sit and like if 20 people could be standing around me and I can talk shrimp. Put me on a stage with a microphone where I have to be loud and someone's staring at me, absolutely cannot talk anymore. My mind is just like, like that kid that sees their first crush and they're like, my brain just goes to mush. Jesse said, heck, I believe in your talking skills enough to where I'm in one of your sponsors for the Clash. Thank you. you. I feel like I'll be better at the Clash because I know everybody and they already watch me on the live stream. Maybe if I think that way when I go to Aquashella, that would be better. But it's like I know everyone at, the Keystone Clash, so it makes it easier for me to breathe. Ocho's Locos. Is that it? It does sound like it.
I mean, you
might be
take
it.
a picture of that so we can look that up when we're there. But then I saw Mike posted the mothers and daughter diner. No, I'm not talking about the breakfast spot. I'm talking about where we went for tacos and we got like the 38 taco platter and we all split it before we went out for ice cream that one night. You are.
What's wrong? You're about to call it a night, aren't you? Amazon keeps sending me the wrong Brightwell products, and they're so heavy, like they just send it again and let me keep it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're not the only problem, or not the only person that has that problem.
You're not the only problem. Don't worry, there's many problems.
Yeah, the biggest one that I get all the time is that they get the Brightwell razor and they get the saltwater version. Well, the saltwater version is not the same chemical as the freshwater one. So a lot of people, when they get it, they just assume, oh, it's the same one. They just use it for both. And no, that's not the case. You're about to get evicted.
She's done.
Ripped her pacifier today. She's.
Oh yeah, this is the third turtle we are on now. This one was supposed to be a gift for someone else we haven't been able to see yet. We're gonna have to buy another one.
And then Crip keeps getting dried out soil. I mean,
that's the worst.
Have you tested any of it yet, though? Because the last time I asked you, you hadn't actually tested it. So, I'm not sure how fresh it is and stuff like that. But the last few bags that I've gotten, all the bags that we got for Shelby's room were pretty fresh.
Yeah, I was surprised. She is done. So I'm probably going to take her and head out. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you for the words of encouragement. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing when I'm anxious. Benny Tay said, question, should new hobbyists start with 5 shrimp or 30 shrimp?
So we usually recommend 1 to 2 shrimp per gallon, at least to start out with. However, the 30 shrimps is definitely going to be better than 5 shrimps. This isn't like a selling tactic or anything like that. However, if you only buy 5 shrimp and you end up with 3 of them that are males and just 2 females, well, then those 3 males that are probably going to get sexually mature faster are going to constantly go after the females, and one will probably be mature before the other one. They'll stress that one out. However, if you have a big group of them and there's a bunch of females that become mature at once, they kind of don't stress out just one of them and stress out a bunch of they'll go after, 1 or 2 at a time, and the more the merrier. You totally threw me off. I thought you were taking her, then you handed me her. So
it's safer for me to get up without her.
But yeah, you want more females to give the ones a chance to get away, and other ones to distract the other males and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds right. And have a good night. Yeah, we're probably not gonna be on here too late. We've got a lot going on with Aquashella. Our dog Thea needs surgery, so that's what Shelby was doing before the live stream. Every night and every morning she's got to get some medicine, and then when we get back from Aquashella, we got to get she's had like a little tumor on her stomach, bursted, and so It's a lot of care to keep it wrapped, keep it cleaned up, make sure that all the medicine and everything like that cleans it up so it's not infected when we go into surgery for it. But it is going to be like up to $3,000 in total cost. I'm not saying this to get donations or anything like that, but if you guys are looking to support us, when people are asking where to buy shrimp, please recommend us. Give us a shout on Facebook or something like that. It really goes a long way, especially in times like this. Check out the website, tgoeshrimp.com. If there is something on your list you're looking for, purchasing it now would help us out a lot, especially the shrimp foods right now. The Plamski foods are all on sale, and there's a bunch of things that are marked down for a little bit. What do you think of the calyx balls? We talked about this a little bit earlier. We haven't tried them out yet. Shelby's going to give them a go. I just haven't been able to justify my the use for buying them for 500 aquariums. It just seems like a pretty expensive cost. I got my order last week. They're all doing well. Glad to hear it, Ron P. Brandon said, "Oh, talking to Crypt Keeper. I see how it is. What's the best way to sex out Neos?" So there's two ways. Well, I guess four ways to sex them out. The females, of course, are going to have eggs if they're pregnant. And then the other way is to see if there's a saddle, like right behind the eyes and the head. Like if you were to put a saddle on a horse or a saddle on a shrimp to ride it, right behind its eyes or head is where the saddle is going to form. And the saddle is unsexed fertilized eggs. And then the other ways are the belly of a female is going to be curved. That is basically like her undercarriage where she's going to hold on to the eggs, all of her swimmerets and everything like that. It's going to be some good curvature in the bottom of the shrimp where the male will be pretty much straight back. And then the antenna are the other way. Males will have slightly longer antenna. That way they can sense out the females when they get pregnant or when they're ready to be pregnant and stuff like that. So definitely look at both of those last two ones when you're trying to sex out the shrimp. Thank you, Crypt Keeper, for sharing the website. Appreciate that. Yeah, once they degrade, I can swap the pillow out. Oh, you're talking to Crypt Keeper still. How's it going, Shrimp Aquatics? Right now, just general discussion. If anybody has anything, any questions or anything like that, I don't really have anything else to talk about. We got a couple more spots for the shrimp contest open. You can register at aquashella.com. Tomorrow we are packing and getting ready for the show. If anybody has any pre-orders or last second requests, make sure you get them in tomorrow. And that way, early tomorrow, that way we can have them packed up and ready to go with us for Aquashella. Pick up all the plants from the nursery and everything like that. They don't add bacteria powder into the calyx ball. We pack them one by one. He does it by hand himself. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just see Crypt Keeper and everybody else in chat talking about the calyx balls. We just haven't really done them out themselves. So I didn't get any of the orange-eyed blue steels from Plamski. Plamski's is moving to Bulgaria. He didn't have any luck with moving his aquariums from the one room into the living room. So generally, it's risky when you move aquariums, and he just got really busy, so wasn't able to keep up with any of the shrimp. I was really looking forward to getting like the fancy tigers and the purples and the orange-eyed blue steels off of him, but never really got any of those. Thank you for the advice the other day. Saved all my shrimps using no planaria with your advice. Lost some snails, but mostly fine. Highly appreciate your videos. Great to hear that. We had somebody earlier in chat that was asking about the same thing. So this right here, the proof is in the pudding. The video definitely has helped out a lot of people. And they stopped making the product No Planaria. So I'm gonna have to use the I can't remember the name of the product, but it is a dewormer from Fritz. Can't remember even who in chat even recommended um, to try that out, but they had it working, and I grabbed some. I don't have any planaria to like try it out in. I've got like one tank with planaria, and Shelby wanted to put some orange shrimp that she won in the auction at the club meeting the other day, and we weren't able to do that because it's got planaria in it. And she's like, "Why don't you dose it?" And it's like, "Because I'm trying to do another video. I'm like trying to breed out the planaria in that tank, and it's just, I can't get them to like mass produce, start feeding them a bunch of bloodworms and stuff." Do you know what an Aurora Blue and a Yellow King cross would make and result in? That's how we made our green tigers. That's the difference between a green tiger and a green apple tiger. Green apple tiger is with the tangerine tigers, and just the straight green tigers is the yellow King Kong. I don't know if it's Panaccuracy. I thought it was like a Z1 product. Oh, I got Amazon right here. Fritz dewormer. Yeah, the Expel P, I believe, is what it is. So I think that's what it was. Yeah, and then we used like the Marison and the slime out to get rid of the blue green algae. I've got that video coming out in a little bit as well. But the Expel P is the product. I just haven't used it yet. I need some planaria. I have a tank with like 2 planaria, and that doesn't really do good to kind of remove myself. Great one. Yeah, it's doubled the price because I think someone figured out that it's no longer available. I've got somebody that's got like a bunch of expired bags of it, and I told them, "Give me a price, and I'll buy it all." And they've just been too busy. It's been like a year. I should probably get that from them though. Anybody got any other questions, remarks, or anything like that? We do have 30 minutes left that I could dedicate to some questions and stuff like that, but I really don't got much to talk about. I kind of came up with the best topic for the night that I could, kill in a whole hour and actually benefit some people and hopefully answer some questions and some people figure out some things. Oh, Benny's got questions. But yeah, no, I think I just double checked the notes while Benny's typing along. Pretty much went over everything. There's not too much to talk about. There's a couple people who tried with the acids, and none of them were ever really able to get the shrimp to breed. They were able to keep them alive, but still had some losses and stuff like that. They were doing a lot of imports and stuff. I haven't really seen anybody really try the peat moss. The peat moss is just one of those, or you heard about it from the forums, and everybody kind of just complained that it caused a big mess, and nobody wanted to really try it afterwards because you could just get the aqua soil, and a lot of people had a lot of success with it. So it's what was recommended across the board. But when I first got into shrimp keeping, I was buying every single product that was out there, trying to compare it, trying to use it, trying to throw it in the tanks and get the best breeding results. And the all were just, the same breeding that I was getting off of just using shrimp food and the salty shrimp. Uh, so really not a lot to it. Just use the soil and some GH only minerals. Feed your shrimp every other day. Do your water changes every week, 10% at least. And if you do every other week, just do more than 20%, and your shrimp should be pretty good. Do you think there will be a time where new shrimp type doesn't appear in the market and have a downtrend in there? I think right now there's a trend where like all of the Caradina shrimp in the United States are kind of falling off. There's not a lot of breeders. Most of the breeders who were really heavy into the Caradina scene really aren't around anymore. There's not many people making a living off of it, and the reason why is because of the whole Facebook made sales of live animals against their policy. And when that happened, you just saw a whole drop in the shrimp hobby altogether. There wasn't really too much room for sellers anymore. Like there's the banned app, and all that did was anybody who didn't have time went to the banned app and just dumped all of their shrimp because they were in it to make a post on Facebook and not have to worry about sales. The shrimp sold themselves, really. They did on Facebook. It was a whole different ball game. And I think there's going to take another app, something different that kind of integrates live animals and breeders and groups. And I don't know if it's going to take a spike in people joining YouTube and Caradina shrimp taking off through there, something like that. But new Neo Caradina, I think there won't be a time where when a new Caradina hits the market that it won't be trendy. But the new Caradina hitting the market, I think it's only going to be trendy for a few people until something bigger comes out. I use peat moss in my filter in a mesh bag as my tap water is slightly higher than would like. Seems to lower pH pretty well, but like how low? Because and with just tap water, you probably have a good amount of KH in it. Generally speaking, like you with tap water, you can get it to drop like 0.2, but for Caradina shrimp, you're wanting it to go. And it depends on how low pH your tap water already is, but you're wanting to get at a low 6, and you want that to be stable through the day. And it's important to check your pH in the morning as well as at nighttime too. I've heard some breeders in Taiwan are not using soil anymore. They're still yet to share any info, any theories. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything like that. Again, the only way I know to drop the pH is through the soil, peat moss, or using some type of acid. So that they figured out an acid that's really stable, and they're able to use it with every water change or something like that. But I do know that there are farms where their groundwater is super low uh, pH. So it wouldn't take too much in my mind to make a system that can pull it out of the groundwater and be able to, do constant water in, constant water out, kind of set up like Dan's Fish, and get Caradina to breed off of that. Also, what kind of Caradina? Are we talking Galaxy Pintos or like Tiger Shrimp? Peat moss and cocoa coir are both used in killifish breeding to lower pH, so it can be done, but it's a mess or with a double bowl setup. Also, what happens is every time you do a water change in those setups, your pH spikes. So it's very, very hard. You almost got to use the peat moss and the cocoa in your water to do your water changes. So you're making that every single time, and it's a lot of work. 20 years ago, orange-eyed and white pigment doesn't exist, and people believe so. But 20 years later, it happened. Yeah, I always said it. I think that was like the Tybee double pigment thing. The earlier stages, you're not going to see too much white when you're crossbreeding tigers and crystal shrimp together. And then the more you breed it out, you get more and nicer white. How do you survive just selling shrimps? Volume. Um, Neocaridina is our bread and butter now. So we sell a lot of Neocaridina. We're not selling wholesale, it's directly on the website. And we do 20 to 60 packages a week. We also do the shows. The shows, we do sell a good amount of plants, but the majority of the money that we do profit is going to be from the shrimp, and it's all about the neos, the blues, the yellows, the reds. Selling 1,000 Neocaridina a month is what keeps us going. And at one time outside, we were selling 1,000 Neos every week, and we need to get back to those numbers. I'm hoping in the next few months when it warms up, when we hit full summer, right, the end of June, we'll have all those tubs that we set up the beginning of last year. I changed a bunch of tubs and swapped them out so that way they'd be easier for Shelby to access when she's pregnant, not just with the baby that we have, right? We want more kids. And yeah, it's also like more volume of water the way we did it. So once those tubs get going, we'll have a lot of shrimp. And the blue velvets are just about to be there where we're starting to sell babies out of there. The yellows and the blue diamonds and the ocean blues, we've already sold a bunch of shrimp out of those tubs. So the other tubs we filled out a lot later. Probably going to start selling some of the green emeralds out of that tub soon. So Justin, if you're listening, you'll be the first customer for the green emeralds, I promise. How long will baby shrimp keep having baby? How long? Sorry. Will a shrimp keep having babies? Pretty much its whole life. I've never had a shrimp like not produce any babies. I had a group of the orange-eyed black tiger shrimp, and they were the largest tiger shrimp you've ever seen in person. I took them to 6 years of shows, and pretty much I knew they were 6 years old because in the beginning of one year they were born, and I entered them in the shrimp contest at the end of that year. And for the next 5 years, they continued to do shows. And in the last contest that they entered, they were pregnant still, as monstrous as they were. I have all yellow except one red, and I yet to see new red babies. Every day. So this time of the year, you should start to, pick up and get a lot more babies. So maybe I think some phrasing was wrong there. I have all yellow except one red, and yet I see new red babies every day. So maybe the red one is passing on its genetics. I'm not sure. But to answer your question, 3 to 5 years. Grant, I will be glad to see you again Sunday, and I hope to meet some of y'all at Aquashella. Yes, looking forward to it. All right. Hey, Grant, I sent you an email earlier and today or yesterday. I have an outstanding balance with you because I have a lot of things going on with my family. As you can tell, there's only a limited amount I can write, so it'll be broken up into a couple of messages. I'd already sent you an email back earlier today, buddy. Did my 1 year print get stuck on the kitchen counter for shipment? Happens to me all the time. So Zach, I believe I included it into one of your orders, and I hope that it didn't get like lost in the box or something like that. But if that didn't happen, and I'm wrong, and Shelby just hasn't had a chance to send it out. You don't have to order something to get it. I just think Shelby's been busy, but I do know she sent out some stuff. I thought maybe yours was one of them. I thought like in your last order we included it though. I'm using over 2 inches of Brightwell in every one of my aquariums in anticipation for the Hummel shrimp and other shrimp that I will be buying from you. Can you please let me know how they're doing? So the Hummel shrimp, those are the ones that I've got to make sure I have fully going here. I can't risk letting any of them go and then my tank crash and then they're gone, right? Something happens to them in shipping or something like that. So I've got to make sure that I at least move the next batch into another tank, and then I have somebody that pre-ordered the first group before you, so they have to go to them. They have to be successful. Once Luke messages me and says, "Hey, dude, they've made it. They're in my tank, and I've got the third tank with them filled up. You're the next one in line." I can't tell you how long that's going to go. This has been a working project for like 8 years to go from just the small amount that I have to the 2 tanks that I have going now. So I'm aware of that, and that you're looking for the Hummels. Just I've done this to myself in the past where I've let something go too early, and then it pretty much screwed me over in the sense that I no longer have those shrimp. So I got to make sure that I keep my stock to a spot where I want it. The next tank that's getting some is Shelby's new rack. So that will get filled in. As long as those don't pass away and they're doing good, I'm shipping some over to Luke. Yeah, no, I don't have any secrets. I didn't mind sharing that. But Zach, I'll talk to Shelby. Shelby's the one that handles all that too, so her memory would be better on that than myself. Anybody got any other questions? We got 19 more minutes here. I'm probably gonna go pack up the rest of the dry goods for Aquashella here. No problem. Thank you guys for joining me on the live stream, and you guys have a great night. You have a great night yourself, Benny. Looking forward to seeing you in August. Looking forward to seeing a lot of you at Aquashella, and really can't wait for the shrimp contest. Big thanks to also Stephen P. I will message you when we've figured out when we're heading out, either tomorrow night or on Wednesday morning, to see if maybe we could do dinner tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, but dinner on Wednesday night at Duke's, if you're up for it. Thank you, Jeff Kane. All right, we'll end on a sad note. Our power kicked out, and I don't know why. When I did my talk last weekend in North Carolina, came home and Shelby goes, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "What? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And it was the power. It's never good to come home from a long drive, and you've got a hot house here in Florida. And usually, if like say the AC kicks out, I said power, I meant AC. Usually, if the AC kicks out on the house, the tanks start to sweat, and the tanks weren't sweaty, and that tells me that the house had been no AC'd for a while. Our drip pan thing had filled up. The float valve kicked off the AC. It just gets clogged like once a year. Usually we're home and it happens. I notice the sweaty tanks and I go unclog the drain pipe, and the AC is good again for another year. But it happened to us, I don't know when we had left for the show. Maybe it happened right afterwards, but Came home, everything was fine. The newt in the live stream last week, Shelby pointed out, looked a little funny, and then the next day passed away. Or not the next day, day or two after that. It was like the day before or the day Dr. Anthony got here. The female died. The male was fine, and the next day the male died. So I don't know exactly what caused it, other than the temperatures got too warm for them. But yeah, I lost all the Lewistic newts from the I guess the heat rise, the temperature rise. The orange-eyed blue tigers we oversold in Christmas time, and I haven't been able to get the colony back up and going yet. So those are not available at this moment. I might have some orange-eyed yellow King Kongs, and then I know you had mentioned you wanted something finer, and we're packing for Dallas, and I can't really go through my tanks, but I could probably sell you some culls out of my orange-eyed yellow tiger projects. That'd probably be the only orange-eyed shrimp I know I have for sure. I just had my water heater flood my whole fish room, shrimp room. I'm glad it wasn't a broken big fish tank, but water heaters are crazy. Yeah, water heaters are no fun to replace at all. That's one of the things I worry about. I flood my RO unit so much, and the water heater's right there. Annual maintenance is ideal for HVAC equipment. Yeah, I usually once a year blow it out, and it's usually in the summer when I'm like out there working on it. I'll usually every 3 months go out there and blow off the radiator and clean it off, right? And then I'll blow out the drain at the same time. And I probably just forgot to do it last time I did it. I still have for whatever reason the Lewistic ones bit the bucket, but my normal Spanish rib newts are just fine. Other than Cantapa leaves, what are good leaves shrimp eat? I don't recommend any leaves, but mulberry leaves are good ones. A lot of people will use oak leaves, and then on top of that, nettles. Nettles are a common one. Nettles and mulberry leaves will get eaten quite quickly, so I don't mind using those as like feeders. But the catappa leaves are more like a long-term leaf, and bamboo leaves, banana leaves. I'm just not a fan of leaves. So I think that's going to be it for this week's live stream. If anybody has any questions or need anything else, you can always reach out to us on Facebook. You need anything for Aquashella, let us know. Have any questions or anything like that, we're always here. So take care. See you next week. Have a good one.